Good morning, coffee moaners. Good morning, welcome. If you're listening on podcast, welcome to everyone. Hi, everyone. Can see you all in the chat room. Before we get going, I just need to share with you, some of you who followed the channel for a few years maybe will know our friend Pat, who became a very close friend of the family and was our girls' nanny to begin with, and sort of would look after them. And she's proper Croydon girl. She tragically passed away last night. So obviously, as a family, we're in quite deep shock. And obviously the impact for the kids is extreme, and it will account for there being perhaps a slightly dour tone to things this morning. So I just wanted to share that. Some of you may have seen in some of the vlogs over the years, every now and then. She never really wanted to be filmed, but she popped up every now and then. She was incredibly witty. I just said to her granddaughter this morning, I don't know anyone who could do banter like her. She was a tough, but she was a kind woman who was critical cornerstone of our family for decades, literally. And yeah, it's such a huge loss. So I just want to send all my love to Pat, wherever you are right now. Yeah, it's really sad. So yeah, it's quite a year. It's been quite a year so far. Oh my God, quite a year. Anyway, so it's Friday. Thank you so much. Thank you. I know that some of you will have seen Pat pop up in some of the vlogs, but you'll also know just how key and important she is to the kids. And I mean, neither Betty nor my mother would mind me saying that she very much functioned almost more as of a nan, as more of a kind of quintessential nan than her own grandparents, who are both incredibly eccentric and odd and weird, and have lots of grandchildren. But you know what I mean? She was a mainstay in their lives and ours. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, she was Rosie Cantillon. Thank you very much. Okay, so what are we talking about this morning? I need to distract myself. Trump's Gaza master plan. So we're gonna see what the plan is to chop up the Gaza Strip, to transform it into a piece of commercial real estate. We're gonna also look at the fact that ICE, Immigrations and Customs, what is it? Immigrations and Customs, is it agency? I can never get the E. What does the E stand for? I always forget what Immigration and Customs, forget what the E stands for. Using toddlers as bait, potentially. Disneyland for billionaires, absolutely. Enforcement, thank you. Immigration and Customs enforcement. How could I forget that word? That's the one thing we see all the bloody time. Using a toddler as bait. And this isn't the image that we saw yesterday of the 4-year-old being sort of held or looked after or kind of stewarded or kind of, with a backpack, Spider-Man backpack. No, this is another one. So ICE just getting more and more evil. And Trump's hands, the bruises on Trump's hands. He's asked about his bruises on his hands on Air Force One. Is he dying? More and more bruises showing on his hands. I mean, and the reason I think it's an important question to ask, we've entertained this thought before. When you've got, I mean, let's not beat around the bush. Trump is a dictator. And even if he isn't quite the dictator, that many perceive and say Putin is, or perceive the Ayatollah to be, or Netanyahu is, he has dictatorial ambitions, right? Michu puts it quite succinctly, Trump is literally rotting away. It does make you wonder whether all that's beneath his skin is fillet of fish. He's a dick too, says Rachel Thomas. Yes, we do too, Alzaran. That would be nice. So yes, we're going to talk about that. He kind of answers a question about his hands. But the thought that I was entertaining, I've always entertained this thought, is let's just sort of like normalize Putin. Let's normalize Netanyahu. let's normalize Trump. You know, they're flesh and blood. If you cut me, do I not bleed? If you hurt me, do I not cry? Do you think they think to themselves, like we're all thinking, you know, oh, wouldn't it be lovely when we kind of retire? Maybe when we get to this age, maybe we'll slow down. I don't ever want to slow down, but, you know, a lot of people think, oh, you know, there's a moment where we can sort of kick back a bit, slow down a bit. Do you think these guys think, oh, it'd be nice to kick back and slow down a bit? Or is kick back and slow down a bit for a dictator more about, I wonder if I can control the entire world by the time I die? So I'm just curious. It's like there must be a clock ticking in Putin's head. It's like you can't hang around on the battlefield forever in Ukraine. Surely even Putin wants to feel some sense of progress. If that means using a nuke, use a nuke. Now I'm not getting drawn into the Ukraine-Russia thing. No, trust me. No conflict is as the mainstream media in this country presents it. You just have to take that on trust. That it's nothing is as straightforward. We've had it illustrated to us that nothing can be trusted. Nothing we're told to feel can be trusted. And that's not to say that what Russia has done and is doing and does in individual exercises and assaults in Ukraine isn't wrong. Of course it is. But also what the West have done in encroaching ever further towards Russia's borders breaks all sorts of agreements and treaties too. So nothing is ever as it appears. And I think again, it's not about jumping to just quick conclusions on that and saying, oh, well, Zelensky's wrong and oh, well, Putin's right. Not at all. But nothing, you know, if you feel things are straightforward, what was the play? There was a play where, oh, maybe it was the film. What was that film? Oh God, Conclave. If you have certainty about something, and you hear on the radio all the time, politicians, don't you, coming on going, well, we've got to be tough with Putin, and then Trump throws a complete fucking googly, and we're all like, well, maybe we don't need to be tough with Trump. Maybe it's better if we're not tough with Trump because we don't need tariffs. Do you know what I mean? They pick and choose where they apply their toughness and their appeasement and all the rest of it. So anyway, so today it is major news, trilateral negotiations between America, Ukraine and Russia. Could they broker a deal? I am of the opinion more and more that Trump and Putin behind the scenes are in more of an alignment than most of us even necessarily think, because I don't think that's necessarily news. He's invited Putin onto the Board of Peace, which we're going to talk about in a moment. And, you know, at the end of the day, I just wonder whether Trump and Putin are they're walking the walk and talking the talk to look like they've tried again, more like bilateral. I wouldn't be at all surprised if the whole trilateral, bilateral chat between Zelensky and Putin today is going to be more of a kind of set dressing situation where they can say they were trying to broker a deal. And again, it's laid at the feet of Ukraine. I mean, personally, I'm sick to death of the whole fucking Ukraine thing. I really am. It's just like, I feel Zelensky, I feel everyone involved in it is pushing things too far. And, you know, when you dig into these leaders' kind of other sympathies, you just think, oh, I don't have much time for Zelensky. He's another hopeless Zionist too. So, you know, I don't trust that whatever's happening today is going to yield anything. And in fact, I wonder whether it's actually going to be used for propaganda purposes, for a carve up that suits Russia and America. Of course, the big news yesterday was that Greenland is off the table. Isn't it interesting how Greenland, he backed down over Greenland, but he's created a Board of Peace and he's developing a master plan for Gaza. It's curious, isn't it? One involves, well, not very many white people in Greenland, and the other doesn't. It involves Arabs in Gaza. So let's talk about Trump's Gaza master plan, shall we? Yesterday was the signing. Whilst we were live yesterday, he was signing, the Board of Peace was signing things. He was signing documents. Donald Trump is such a fucking toddler. He loves just sitting down and signing things with his bruised hands, doesn't he? And it's like, what is this board of peace? How would anyone here, when I say Trump's board of peace, how would you guys go about describing it? For me, it feels like a ragtag conference league team of wannabe footballers who can't quite score goals. We've got the leader of Belarus in there. We've got Hungary in there. We've got the United Arab Emirates in there. And then of course you've got, unfortunately, Jordan and Egypt. I mean, I'm sure all the Arab nations will be saying, well, we need to be in there too. You don't have any Palestinians, because no fucking Palestinian organization could afford the $1 billion entry fee. This is like Soho House, isn't it? It's like Groucho's for genociders. Armenia and Kosovo have $1 billion to. It's interesting, isn't it? Netanyahu, when he joined, the $1 billion admission fee for Israel will have already been paid by America, right? They'll just take it out of whatever great big wodge of cash the Americans are going to give Israel this month, whilst their entire population has no health care. Can we really believe Tina Ahey has backed off Greenland when you take into consideration the events of Venezuela? I think what happened with Greenland was he bit off more than he can chew, because let's face it, the Western world only gets cross when it's not Arabs that are involved. I mean, imagine just for a second, if the rest of the world had been as pushbacking and resistant and critical and outraged by what was going on in Gaza, we might have saved tens of thousands of innocent Palestinians. Where was the impetus? Where was Starmer's backbone at that point? Where was his willingness? I mean, and again, when I ask this question, if I see another comment going, well, because he's a Zionist support. Yes. We know he's complicit. In asking the question, we need to demand change. It's just such a weird thing. So here he is. Let's just see him. He loves a big pen. He loves a big table. He loves a lot of people all around him. There he is with people. Who are they? All the people around him in ties. Trump launches board of peace. Oh, everyone listening to his pen. Oh, has he fallen asleep? I think he's fallen asleep right at the end. So he loves all the pomp and ceremony, doesn't he? He's nouveau. He's nouveau riche. He's that sort of new wealth. That's why he likes gold everywhere. Gold plated this, gold plated that. So let's hear what Starmer had to say on Channel 4 News about the border. Well, just to give you a little bit of info. So the board of peace, here we go. Those signed up include Middle East allies of America, such as Israel, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Jordan, Qatar, and Egypt. Others include NATO members, Turkey and Hungary, whose leaders have good ties with Mr. Trump, as well as Armenia, Azerbaijan, which reached a US brokered peace agreement. Also involved are Morocco, Pakistan, Indonesia, Kosovo, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Paraguay, and Vietnam. More controversially, Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko has accepted an invitation. It's a ragtag bunch of people, isn't it? All of them with their own presumably vested interests. I mean, it can't in any way, shape or form. I mean, what's notable by their absence is most Western European countries. I don't see Italy, France, Spain, Portugal, Germany, us, Ireland, Canada. Don't see any of them. They don't really see any South American countries. Have we got any South American countries in there? Not really. So, so the board of, and what's really confusing about it is it's a board of peace, but it was the board of peace for what? Is it just for Gaza? Come on, Trump. Does he want this to be something bigger? And he's chairman of the board. He's turned it into a reality show. Me too. That's a good point. The members are thinking by being the first in, they will get preferential treatment if the Board of Peace succeeds in supplanting the the United Nations Security Council. What are they going to? Is the Board of Peace going to create its own army? So that just gives you a sense of who's on it. And of course, you know, Starmer was our government's been invited, but Yvette Cooper, which I went a little bit nuts about yesterday, said no. Starmer. We can't join. We can't join the Board of Peace. No, there's a war criminal on there, and the war criminal is Putin. So we can't join because of Putin, but we can join because of it doesn't matter that Netanyahu's there. We've done that one. So let's have a listen to Keir Starmer discussing it with Channel 4, and I love Channel 4's leading question at the front here.
Peace, as it's called, it looks to a lot of people like a cast of Bond villains plus Tony Blair. I mean, it's an extraordinary thing, and Donald Trump seems to think this particular bunch of characters could run the world safely. What can you say about that? How can you help people understand it? Because they're baffled and they're nervous.
Okay, so let's prepare. Wonderful, the way the questioner there sort of hived off Tony Blair. I think Tony Blair is a sort of even more sinister arch Bond villain. Tony Blair is like the villain that kind of umbrellas all other episodic villains in the Bond franchise. Blair's worse than a Bond villain. Tony Blair is an unspeakably disgusting individual who was responsible for just hundreds of thousands of deaths. And what people seem to fail to sort of realize about the whole Iraq war situation, and I know a lot of people like to say, well, you know, the trickle-down effect has been that things are better, and you know, it's all kind of trickled down to a place of balance at the cost of hundreds of thousands of innocent lives, based on totally fraudulent intelligence, the dodgy dossier. It's why I can't fully, unlike Nadia, get on board with Alistair Campbell with his opinion on anything in the Middle East. I mean, completely fraudulent. So when you mention Tony Blair being on this, you know, being a member of the Board of Peace, for me, Tony Blair is a war criminal. Again, he's legitimized it. He hid behind legalities. He was a prime minister in a so-called democracy. They manufactured weapons of mass destruction. Yeah.
Firstly, it's important to understand the origins, and it came out of the idea of governance relations in relation to the Middle East and Gaza. That is important, and Tony Blair's
He's talking about running the world with it.
No, but just hear me out, because that's where it started. Now, we've got a ceasefire in...
First lie, we've got a ceasefire. Oh my fucking Christ. So Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of this country, clearly has been shown none of the footage, none of the news stories coming out of every other news outlet other than the mainstream media in the West. The ceasefire isn't lasting. We had 3 journalists and 8 other members of Palestinian civilians killed just 2 days ago. There is no ceasefire. This spurious use of the term ceasefire, it's a one point of view ceasefire. Talk about gaslighting. We are all being gaslit, and for fucking Starmer to sit there and say we have a ceasefire, an absolute spineless gaslighting liar. This is what I meant when I said in our chat with Zach Polanski and everyone got their knickers in a twist about sinister. It's more sinister than Enoch Powell, more sinister than Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson was what he was and always was what he was. Thatcher was what she was. Trump always is and always is. Trump isn't sinister. Trump's just evil. Boris Johnson is evil and clownish. Sinister is when you present yourself as one thing, but you are something completely different. For me, the 2 leaders that are the most sinister in this country, well, one in this country is Starmer, because he manufactures this incredibly dead-eyed, administrative, very middle of, you know, playing down the middle of the wicket. He grinds you into administrative hell. And the other fucking sinister leader was Biden. They pretend they care. They pretend they're different, but they're not. That's sinister. Enoch Powell, Farage, nothing that comes out of their fucking mouths surprises me. And it shouldn't surprise anyone else.
Gaza, and we need to get on to phase 2. So I support having structures in place to help us along that journey.
What people look at is what they see as a moment of madness with Donald Trump, and they question whether his security guarantees, essential element in all of this in Ukraine, mean anything.
Well, we've made a
How can they?
We've made huge progress on those security guarantees, and at the military level, we're thrashing out the final details. That is a good thing for Europe, and I'm not going to give up on that, because we need a peace in Ukraine, but it's got to be a lasting peace. And we've had ceasefires before, and Putin has simply come back for more. I'm not going to let that happen, which is why I've worked so hard to get the Coalition of the Willing, which is a big group of countries, to put forward security guarantees, and work with the Americans to make sure that we have security guarantees with them as well. Because I know the prize here is peace in Europe and a lasting resolution to Ukraine, and that matters to every single person watching this programme, because peace in Europe means peace across the whole of Europe.
What a load of old utter bunkum. What a load of old hogwashy, chitty-chatty shit. The alliance of the willing. Was it the alliance of the willies? It's just bullshit, all of it. He can use the term ceasefire and say Putin's broken the ceasefire. So he knows what a broken ceasefire looks like, but he can't fucking apply it to the Israel-Gaza situation. He's utterly spineless, and yet at the same time, he's robust and he's persistent. He's like one of those trawler dredging fishing boats that trawler dredges the bottom of the ocean to fish. There's no finesse, there's no targeting, there's no nifty kind of skill involved. He just chucks the dragnet down, drags it across the bottom, pulls up everything. He just grinds you. He grinds you down with his kind of verbiage of non-specific ranga. That's all he does. Oh, it's just hideous. So anyway, Bond villains, a board of Bond villains. That's what this looks like.
What we're looking at is almost 19th century imperial powers squabbling over bits and pieces from the rest of the world. Surely what we need is an era of cooperation to recognize the environmental and human problems and human inequalities that face this world. So shouldn't we stop looking at the thing from the point of view of potential war and start look at the thing from the potential of a more peaceful future? I'm terrified that none of the governments seem to be putting any effort into rebuilding the UN, any effort into funding the UN, or funding overseas aid. They're all into weapons.
Again, it was refreshing to hear another voice or a different voice expressing this. I mean, it's just what's happening to the United Nations? Why is the United Nations not even sort of expressing an opinion on this board of peace, this fucking board of peace? These are just a couple of clips that I just wanted to show you around the board of peace. Jeremy Corbyn, I think, absolutely nailing it. More interest in weaponry. The whole rubric of the planet is shifting, isn't it? From any idea of what peace is towards just power. It's all about power. It's just becoming a power-led world.
Eva, what do you make of this board of peace?
Well, can we talk about the peace in the Middle East? What on earth is he talking about? America are sending, there are ships heading allegedly for Iran, if the trackers are to be believed. If you look over at Israel, Gaza, Israel has still been bombing the Gaza Strip, while we haven't been speaking about it perhaps as loudly as we should have been doing in the media over here. I don't know what peace he's talking about in the Middle East. Perhaps he thinks if you can sort of, pull up a curtain or he can gaslight us, then maybe we'll believe it's true.
I just love that. I don't even know who she is. Is she a Labour politician? I doubt she's a Labour politician. I mean, there is no peace. There is no peace. The genocide is continuing. And in a minute, we're going to get to the grisly PowerPoint presentations of the master plan for Gaza. What was the phraseology used during World War II by Hitler? Wasn't it the master plan? Wasn't there something with the word plan attached to it that was kind of the big kind of plan, the ultimate plan, the master? I'm sure there was. you know, this idea that there's peace, and she's right just on that. In a minute, I'm going to play you a clip from Trump about Iran. Trust me, what Trump's discovered with Greenland is if you go for somewhere that has a white European ethnicity to it, everyone loses their fucking shit and gets really upset and actually finds a backbone and grows some balls and some ovaries. But if you attack anywhere that can be defined by their their foreignness, their Persianness, their Arabness, because I realize, you know, in Iran it's not Arab. You know, if you can target somewhere that's more ethnic, you can carry the passivity of the rest of the world. The rest of the world will go to. I mean, it's so fucking transparent. He tried Greenland, everyone kicked up a fuss. He did Venezuela, people didn't really care because actually Venezuela and South Americans sit in that, Latinos sit in that strange section of the Venn diagram for the racist of kind of white, but not really white enough. Fuck it. We can't do any more in Gaza. We've genocided everything, and Israel, you know, needs to pretend that there's a ceasefire. Let's go for the one last bastion of purely foreign people. Bingo. Can't do Afghanistan because that's too poisoned a chalice. That was Biden's cesspit. Can't do Iraq. We did that. That was Blair's cesspit. Iran. Let's do Iran. It's the last fucking area of non-white people. Europe won't mind. Europe won't mind. Europe just won't mind that. I mean, it's so transparent. I mean, if someone, I'd love to sit in front of these politicians like like Keir Starmer, Freudian slip, and say, do you get this? Do you have any awareness of how vocal you became about Greenland and how little you had to say about Gaza because of your being compromised by the AIPAC Israeli lobby? It's just so transparent.
This is all designed to hijack the news agenda. The news agenda, which should, frankly, be full of quotes from Donald Trump that sound very much like this, will instead now be dedicated to the ludicrous notion that a collection of genocide apologists, war criminals, weirdos, dictators and murderers, or at least murderers factoti. Factota? What's the plural of factotum? Answers on a postcard, please. Will be dominating the news agenda, and we will be turning our attention away from his humiliation yesterday. And it's worked, because I've spent 40 minutes talking about the Board of Peace, brackets, snigger, close brackets, and not talking about the climb down yesterday.
It's true. It's true, isn't it? So to eclipse his climb down from Greenland because it was white people, he's launched the Board of Peace, which is now everywhere. We're doing the same thing, but I hope we're also drawing parallels. We're drawing our attention again to how our government can't join the Board of Peace because there's a war criminal, only Putin. Netanyahu's all right as a wanted war criminal. That's fine. No one, not one journalist in this country has asked anyone in our government about that blatant show of hypocrisy. Why not? Why not? It's a simple question. Just slip it in. Not even the Channel 4 guy did there.
I mean, I heard about the formation of the Peace Summit, and I was like, is that PIEC? You know, a little piece of Greenland, a little piece of Venezuela.
That was Elon Musk inadvertently in his ketamine haze hitting upon truths and kind of laughing them off. I mean, the irony is it is exactly a board of pieces. That's precisely what they're doing, chopping up Gaza into pieces. I mean, and weirdly, you know, Elon Musk stumbled across the fact of it. A little bit of Venezuela over here, a little bit of Greenland over there, a lot of Gaza everywhere. Let's share it around. We don't care. I mean, you know, okay, and if we're in any shadow of doubt that this whole thing is not for the Palestinians, I've got 2 clips now that talk to only the real estate aspect of the Gaza Strip. I can't even believe we're here. I can't even believe there hasn't been a gesture towards some kind of acknowledgement of the Palestinians needing, what's happened to the UK saying we recognize a Palestinian state and then just going quiet on the board of peace. And do not be drawn in, I said it yesterday, do not be drawn into this idea that they've opened the Rafah crossing. They've opened the Rafah crossing for one purpose alone, to get people out of Gaza, to let people slide out, to move people out, to just displace and ethnically cleanse the Gaza Strip. It's happening. This is all being legitimized. They're not even hiding it very well.
But I said that, this is a great location. It all begins, see, I'm a real estate person at heart, and it's all about location. And I said, look at this location on the sea. Look at this beautiful piece of property, what it could be for so many people. It'll be so great. People that are living so poorly are going to be living so well. But it all began with the location. That's the vision. They look out on the waters, and very few places are like it. So we put together a team that's outstanding, a team that's done it before, a team that I think has done tougher jobs. If you want to know the truth, we've done some tough jobs. And we continue to, as far as the United States is concerned, we're behind it. And this is just an honor to be involved with this and to be involved with the great people in this room and the great leaders that are sitting on stage. We thank you very much. And we have many others that have signed up, and they all want to be members of the Board of Peace because it really will be important. This is not going to be a waste of time. We waste so much time on things that never happen. This will happen, and it's already happening. Thank you very much.
I mean, it's it's so delusional. And then all those people, all those spineless leaders with their fucking heads right up his flatulent arse. Let's have a listen to Jared Kushner, his son-in-law.
Plan. We brought in, I think, Yakir Gabay, who's one of the most successful real estate developers and brilliant people I know. He's volunteered to do this, not for profit, really because of his heart. He wants to do this. And we've developed ways to redevelop Gaza. Gaza, as President Trump's been saying, has amazing potential. And this is for the people of Gaza. We've developed it into zones. In the beginning, we were toying with the idea of saying, let's build a free zone, and then we have a Hamas zone. And then we said, you know what, let's just plan for catastrophic success. Hamas signed a deal to demilitarize. That is what we are going to enforce. People ask us what our plan B is. We do not have a plan B. We have a plan. We signed an agreement. We are all committed to making that agreement work. There's a master plan. We'll be doing it in phasing. In the Middle East, they build cities like this in 2-3 million people. They build this in 3 years. And so stuff like this is very doable if we make it happen. Rafah will start with. This will show a lot of workforce housing. We think this could be done in 2-3 years. We've already started removing the rubble and doing some of the demolition. And then.
So hang on. Calm yourself right down, you nasty little Nazi Zionist. We've already started removing the rubble. They've already started clearing the crime scene. They've already started removing the remains. Did anyone see the footage of a father sieving the remains of a building for the bones and the fragments of his family members? And he was collecting, he'd find a shin bone, he'd find part of a clavicle. They are already bulldozing the crime scene. They are about to set foundations, pour concrete into Gaza. I can't actually fathom the barefaced lack of awareness that these absolutely monstrous money, real estate orientated, heartless, soulless, ghoulish, zombified individuals, I can't comprehend them. That it's incomprehensible to me that these people have ever had a human heart. This is not for the people of Gaza. There is no plan B. You have removed the legitimacy of the Palestinians to resist occupation and taking control of their land. And then at the point that you ask Hamas to down their arms, you say you're going to do this, and you expect them to? Are you having an absolute fucking laugh? Let me just give you this analysis from Al Jazeera.
Impose the plans onto the destruction plans and the occupation plans of Israel over Gaza over the last couple of years, they will match almost identically. They managed to, they're proposing dividing the Palestinian zone into subzones with so-called green areas in between. These are security areas for Israel to be able to walk in and out whenever they feel like it. They surrounded the place with a security zone, the whole Gaza Strip. They're proposing to reclaim land from the sea, which I think would be the only area that will attract investment from outside. And that will deprive the Palestinians from the seafront and will really lead to gentrification of the Gaza Strip little by little. So that whole idea of displacing the Palestinians, pushing them out of Gaza has not ended.
No, this is just the, and I'm not saying it is civilized, but this, in their eyes, this is the so-called civilized way of doing it. Men in ties, you know the way men in ties always kind of run their hands down their ties. Men in ties coming in, architects. Oh, that's the green zone. Is that still Hamas? I never thought I would I've never more wanted the Palestinians to enact self-defense, because everyone's entitled to self-defense, right? Unless the world has removed that. Australia's about to make it illegal to describe the Israeli regime as having committed a genocide. That's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that Australia is about to make it illegal to accuse Israel of having committed a genocide, even though major genocide organizations, scholars around the world, the United Nations, have founded, and even the International Criminal Court, that's the slowest criminal court on the planet, finds a plausible genocide. You won't be allowed to say it. Isn't that funny how the Zionist propaganda machine in Australia after the tragic shooting in Bondi Beach has managed to just nudge the metrics? This is a wave of propaganda around the world, guys. A wave of propaganda around the world seeking to make us forget. And Jared Kushner tells us the fucking bulldozers are coming in. They're bulldozing over everything. This isn't grisly. There are literally words, language, at this point has imploded in on itself. There's nothing as a human that you can say to describe how chilling, barefaced, and unbelievable this is. And yet our government, a Labour government, entirely compromised by its totally sort of obsequious position and stance towards America and Israel, says nothing. Says nothing. In fact, worse than that, as I just showed you, our Prime Minister says there's actually a ceasefire. Let's move on to phase 2. This is colonialism. There's the master plan with your little data centers and your little kind of controlled, biometric controlled living zones. It's just appalling. It's just so appalling. Look here, even here, look. Crazy how the Gaza Board of Peace PowerPoint, says Greg Stoker at the World Economic Forum, is using the same aesthetic style as the Gaza 2035 project proposed by Netanyahu in 2024 under the Biden administration. It's the same imagery. There's new Gaza. Oh, look at all those hotels. They even say there's going to be an airport for the first time. Do you remember us saying that there will be at Gatwick, and if there ever is, it's going to be, we should hang our heads in shame if there is ever a 3-digit EasyJet logo for the Gaza Strip, GZC, Gaza City, though I'm sure it will be given some Israeli name. I'm sure it will be transformed into an American/Israeli name. Gaza already had an airport. It literally breaks my heart to see this and to see everyone just letting it drift the West letting it drift. But everyone can get their knickers in a twist and fucking find their voices about Greenland. So it's possible. It is possible, but not Gaza. And I go back to Greta Thunberg's one simple sentence when she, on the first flotilla, when she came out. Why won't anyone do anything? Racism. Racism. I've said it many times before. My wife is Anglo-Arab, right at the bottom of the pack for some reason. Well, we know why. It's the propaganda machine instigated by books written by Netanyahu. They've managed to characterize an entire faith, Islam and all Muslims, as somehow radical. It's fundamentally, you talk about fundamental radical Islam. This is fundamentalist racism. And the fact that they can't see it just speaks to their white privilege. Evil motherfuckers. Evil motherfuckers. And it's true. Iran is, just watch this space. Once the kind of, board of peace news has kind of vaporized with a sort of vague whiff of shit about it, Donald Trump's incontinence pads, in comes Iran so that no one will focus for too long on his weakness in Greenland.
Ships going that direction, just in case. We have a big flotilla going in that direction, and we'll see what happens. We have a big force going toward Iran. I'd rather not see anything happen, but we're watching them very closely. I stopped 837 hangings on Thursday. They would have been dead. Every one of them would have been hung. This is like from 1,000 years ago. This is an ancient culture. Very smart people, by the way, but it's an ancient culture. 837, mostly young men, were going to be hung on Thursday. And I said, if you hang those people, you're going to be hit harder than you've ever been hit. It'll make what we did to your Iran nuclear look like peanuts. And an hour before this horrible thing was going to take place.
Oh, shut up, you rambling old fool. Oh, go and change your nappy. What a load of old shit. Ancient culture. They hang people. Oh my God. Oh, coming from a president who just bombs fishing boats just without any international fucking, responsibility whatsoever. Okay, well, let's go to more pressing matters. Is he dying? I think we're all keen to know. Is he dying? Here's his hands. Trump's left hand is now badly bruised, as well as his right hand. Lots of photographs and photographers picking up on this. He claims it's from shaking hands a lot. But could he just have weeks? Could he have months? Is he on the way out? And if he is on the way out, will things get any better? Will we just get a more focused version, an even more sinister version of what his really quite clumsy, rambling nonsense sort of is throwing at the world? He's asked about this also on Air Force One.
Much, everybody.
We saw them bruising on your hand. Are you okay?
Very good. I clipped it on the table. So I put a little, what do they call it, cream on it. But I clipped it. I would say take aspirin if you like your heart, but don't take aspirin if you don't want to have a little bruising. If you take I take the big aspirin. And when you take the big aspirin, they tell you you're bruised. The doctor said, you don't have to take that, sir. You're very healthy. I said, I'm not taking any chances. So anyway, but that's one of the side effects of taking aspirin. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it.
Who believes him? Who believes him? He's rotting from the inside out, says Knocking Stuff. Excuse me. Doesn't look good, does it? Doesn't look good. Yeah, you just worry, don't you? What is going on in his brain? It's just... So I think Iran is going to happen very soon, I think. I think he needs another distraction from his sort of spineless climb down over Greenland. Not that we want him to plow on with Greenland, but wow, isn't it amazing how... I can't get over how Europe found a voice for Greenland, but could say fuck diddly squat for Gaza. They could keep saying they were concerned, though. I mean, I'm so deeply, gravely concerned for Gaza. We believe in a Palestinian state. What does that fucking mean? Oh, okay. We're going to move towards ICE. As I said, here are some of the other headlines in the papers this morning. US, Ukraine, and Russia delegations head to Abu Dhabi for their first bilateral talks of the war. Ukraine, Russia, and US set for rare trilateral talks amid. Should we flip over and see whether there's any breaking news there? Let's have a look over here. I've got some updates on that. No, nothing. No news coming out of there. Oh, I was going to touch on this. Andy Burnham, Starmer's allies plotting to stop Andy Burnham returning as MP. Andrew Gwynn, the guy on the right, is expected to give up his seat in Greater Manchester, which could leave things open for Andy Burnham to run for an MP. But of course, he has to get the permission of the Labour Party. And as I understand it, I think the Labour Party are considering implementing a loyalty pledge to any new incoming Labour MP, so that if Andy Burnham was to run, the idea being here that if Andy Burnham became an MP, he could then potentially lead the Labour Party. And then that leads rather sort of potentially excitingly towards the prospect of Zach Polanski and the Greens perhaps being able to do business with Labour in the situation of a coalition. I still think the Greens need to gun for the majority. Otherwise, I think there's been no historical precedent set for any Labour leader not contorting like the witches in the Roald Dahl film into a spineless, compromised, conservative light leader. My worry with Andy Burnham is, does he have the mettle? Does he have the balls or the ovaries to stay what he is, which is potentially a breath of fresh air or something different to Starmer? Is he also pro-Israel? Is he as compromised? Is he as silenced? Is he as unable to say anything? Is he also just concerned? Is he just more of the same? I fear he might be, but I also fear that the Zionist lobby will do everything it can to prevent anyone replacing Keir Starmer, because Keir Starmer is doing such a good job of managing the base with total insipid lack of inspiration and inability to do anything, and forever dressed in a gimp outfit. I mean, Starmer is doing a supremely efficient job of holding things steady for the Zionist regime and America. It's just keep it steady. Don't upset the apple cart. So whilst I would like to get excited about Andy Burnham, I've in this live decided go fuck it. Fuck it all over. Forget Labour. Just vote fucking Green. Even if you've got issues with Green, vote Green. We need change. Insanity is repeating the same behavior again and again, expecting a different outcome. And I would characterize our democratic two-party system as insanity. Okay? Here's some footage which I think is really disturbing. We showed you the image of a 4-year-old yesterday. Actually, I'll start this the other way around. I showed you footage yesterday of an influencer or a commentator talking about the 4-year-old child with the Spider-Man backpack being held by ICE. JD Vance decided to talk about this in public.
And I'm a father of a 5-year-old, actually, a 5-year-old little boy. And I think to myself, oh my God, this is terrible. How did we arrest a 5-year-old? Well, I do a little bit more follow-up research. And what I find is that the 5-year-old was not arrested, that his dad was an illegal alien. And then when they went to arrest his illegal alien father, the father ran. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. When what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death? Are they not supposed to arrest an illegal alien in the United States of America? If the argument is that you can't arrest people who have violated our laws because they have children, then every single parent is going to be completely given immunity from ever being the subject of law enforcement. That doesn't make any sense.
And there he is, lovely JD Vance, legitimizing the taking basically hold of a 4-year-old and holding them potentially, eventually, I guess, in detention because their parent is wanted. It's about, one of the most important things to say here is, okay, and I saw the head of a police force, I forget where in America, saying, you know, look, immigration and customs enforcement officers, that is a job that was there before Trump. And I think there are still statistics to suggest that Biden actually got rid of more people from the country than Trump has yet. But Biden had a very porous border, you know, between America and Mexico. So a lot of those that Biden got rid of were people who kind of literally came over and almost within the space of an afternoon was sent back. And that was a statistic. Trump's numbers are entirely those that they're getting and they're putting into detention centers, etc. So, okay, well, let's just give Vance that one, shall we? Let's say to Vance, all right, matey flip, you're bullshitting like a good un, but we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's use that line that I hated when teachers would say, I believe you, but millions wouldn't. Okay, but look, here's another incident where a toddler is being held by ICE agents, and you can hear the guardians or parents remonstrating from afar. Watch this.
Don't touch it.
She's born here.
Don't touch her.
And also she have a...
If you touch her, you're gonna have problems.
You're more than welcome to come pick her up.
No.
Is that your daughter?
Look, that's where I am.
Daughter, come here so I can see those IDs.
Hey, I can give it to your daughter.
You can do it right here.
No, I can give it to the daughter. You guys, you scare people. That's what you do. See how you have the kids over there? That's what you doing with this country. Huh? You put it upside down.
Please, sir. She have autism spectrum. Please, please. Yes.
We can see your ID. You're going to have to come out. Bring your ID. We'll check you too.
Okay. I'm going to give you my ID back. Give me my daughter back.
No, you're going to have to physically come out here.
Okay. That's the way you treat people.
You're such a real man. You know that? You're a real man.
They're using a child as bait. There's no other way. There is literally no other way of skinning that. We've got your child. We've got your child. And unless you come out and bring your ID, which of course means they can hit them. Now, as I understand it, I think today there is a tweak to the enforcement rules with ICE. I think they now don't need a warrant to be able to go into homes. If we have a situation where ICE officers can actually go into homes unimpeded, unobstructed, it's a whole new fucking hornet's nest in America. So they're essentially, they can meet you. Have you seen the same story? They can now go into homes ignoring the Fourth Amendment. It's chilling. It's chilling. And once again, thank you for reminding us. How does all this leave you feeling? I mean, does anyone here feel that it's so extreme in America it can't come here? Does anyone feel it's all right, it's America, it won't happen here? I'm not saying it will happen in the same way. It will happen in that curiously sort of British way, which sometimes is just even worse, which is just smelly and ragtag and officious, but it will happen in the same way. All bets will be off if that happens, Victoria Moore. Due process, I don't know her, says Persephone personified. They need no laws. With a real nasty taste in my mouth, says Sophie Megan Barker. I feel so helpless and disgusted by what I'm seeing. The Constitution supersedes their fake illegal legislation, Arsenal Trill. Farage can't wait to be our leader, says DP. It's already happening here. Old Granny Gammon's calling police in the UK, says Musical Chimp. As a Muslim, Shakir al-Bad, as a Muslim who's faced racism, I know it's coming here. Absolutely. And I think Michi was just saying that. I mean, what I'm always curious about is if you have someone who was born here and isn't a migrant at all, and you want to expel them, or if Reform wanted to send them somewhere, where would you send them to? If they've been born here, do you just send them to the nation that is the nation of their parents or their grandparents? Is that how it works? I mean, how is that person going to be equipped for a completely different life in a different country if they weren't born there? It's just... Patman67 sending you best regards. George Orwell was wrong. It's worse than he thought it would be. I entirely agree. George Orwell's 1984 is tame compared to what we're going through. It's tame. Rachel Thomas, no, I'm terrified we'll have a slightly more watered down, slightly more polite version of ICE here. And well, polite to begin with, but then I do worry that is that not what I sort of feel that's what the teeny tiny Tommy Robinsons are all going to be signing up to join, right? I mean, imagine being given carte blanche to go and sort of track down and racially profile people and then kick them out. I'm feeling scared for the world. My 3 daughters, Laura and Nolan, are growing up in. They're 6, 5, and 2, and so far it's been a crazy start to their lives. I wasn't prepared for this part of parenting. Well, Laura and Nolan, you have all of my sympathies. I feel it with grown-up children. It's like, what the fuck is the future holding? And I don't think anyone knows what the future is holding. And none of these demonic, egotistical, narcissistic, megalomaniac leaders give a fuck, because they've all clearly got a spare $1 billion lying around to be able to join the Board of Peace. We've never been in a more dysfunctional and more obviously transparent. You see, the thing is, it's always been like this, but this is like the Wizard of Oz moment. We are literally living through the moment that Judy Garland pulls that great big curtain back. Dorothy pulls the curtain back and sees that everything is being operated by a tiny, pointless little man called the Wizard, cranking the levers and speaking into the loudhailer. It's the Wizard of Oz fused with 1984. Given a what was that film series where everyone's allowed to kill each other for 24 hours. What's that? Do you remember that? God, there was quite a few of those films for a while, wasn't there? And on that note, of course, you may have seen the Oscars. Sinners winning with 16, well, not winning, gaining 16 nominations, the most in cinematic history. I know I disagree with Reese on this. I know it's a very important film. The Purge. Thank you, MeTubes. Yes. I liked it, but I don't know. Plus some Star Wars mixed in, DP. Yeah, absolutely. Pac-Man, we should set up a commune. You're absolutely right. Okay, well, on that note, thank you so much again for all of your kind words regarding our loss. It's really shaping up for a shit year, isn't it? 2026. Fuck me. All right, guys. Have a good day, and something will be landing later on the channel. All right, my lovelies. Take care.